You can catch me sitting sideways and something pretty with direction on me. I stay strapped cause I always keep a package on me. Dirty! It gets serious, niggas die here. Y'all niggas had it up to now. This is my year. Dirty! Moving coke through the turnpike. These niggas call me Michael Jackson cause they know the dawn turn wide. I let the goons laugh and move with the moonlight. 100 bricks in the dark will turn the room wide. Green beers and we riders round here sitting sideways with guns like a diamond sauteers. Ha ha! Step your swag up, I only move with smart dudes. And my trap pump more than your heart do. Fish scale, yeah, I'm scarred for life. Slanging bricks in the jungle's not a Tarzan prize. Just the money longer than the vines that swang on. Well, y'all niggas breaking buds, we cutting barrels with a chainsaw. Dirty, it's the clip when it pop. Yeah, Carbon 15's got more drums than a rock band. Right in the drop band, I got plenty raw. White on white bands, the same color as some dental floss. Fuck a fanfish, scared to move the big fish. I'm so ready, you can call my money fish sticks. You can catch me sitting sideways and something pretty with direction on me. I stay strapped cause I always keep a package on me. Dirty, it gets serious, niggas die here. Y'all niggas had it up to now. This is my year. I'm dirty and my eyes sitting real low. And the coupe doors up like I just kicked a field goal. Ha ha! And pop off in the Tahoe. Yeah, I blow so much the color purple, you can call me Harpo. Y'all niggas can't get close to the dawn. Yeah, I got more straps than your mom stuck to the door. Bloody daughter make you fader, homie. If I kill you, the only way they find you is gotta cut a couple gators open. Been gangster since I've been born. And these pussy niggas phonier than a 3-cent cone. I'ma bring the game. I blow your fucking head off. Chopper so big it's like I pull my fucking leg off. Sitting sideways. I gotta kill this track. I swear to God I got more white than opposite of black. This game been mine. And y'all trying to get it back. And plus I love all y'all haters shit. Opposite of track. And I got a red flag. And I got a red hole. And I'm grinding up that China so I'm getting red dough. Fuck a little bean and dot whip a red roll. With the inside Rudolph. Outside red nose. I keep joking but you heard about a hood rich. That means I got more fish and bread and Jesus fitting with. We sit sideways. I'll try to sing that intro song like 15 times and eventually just run with the one that's the least amount of mistakes. But then I end the stream and I'll randomly start singing the song because it's stuck in my head and hit every note perfectly. It's so frustrating. Like, for instance, I just recorded a really perfect rendition of Sitting Sideways, which is a song I've been known for a long time. I sang in Joe. And guess what? My microphone wasn't plugged in. You know, it's just, that's the curse. And same with it when I was playing my little FFR game. That was helping me be a real good cello player. Playing that DDR on the fingers game made by Synthlight. You know, and Tasselfoot and all the guys over in FFR. That I would always do the best on my first run, and then as I was just like, okay, now I'm gonna try to FC it. I'm gonna try to AAA it. Nope, impossible. I could rename this entire stream Nate's Notes, but ABC, you know, sounds a little better. Above the Bell Curve is a little pretentious, but it does abbreviate well, so it stays. Gotta keep it. From what I gather, that greasy balding creep Stephen Miller is the last round in Israel's magazine. You know, the guy that disappeared 15,000 immigrant children. Literally disappeared. We have no idea where they went. Well, he was head of ICE, the first Trump presidency, while you have all these immigration issues continue to spiral out of control. Like, genuinely, like, he was a absolute monster, and I'm shocked. Like, I really am shocked that he's still around. Like, when he had that melty on the mainstream media network, I was just like, why is this guy around? And come to find out, he's apparently a well-trusted member of the cabinet, despite the fact that he's not an official member of the cabinet. He's an advisor, you know, and he's a more important advisor than, say, Elon Musk or somebody like that. Oh, gosh. You know, you can't win them all, so gotta tolerate it. I really don't think a lot of young Zionists are aware of how bad it comes off to your typical person that they feel entitled to use, say, police to hurt people they've had verbal disagreements with. But hey, you do you. We'll see how that works out in the long term. What they say about the gears of justice moving slowly but grinding ever so fine. The arc of the universe bends towards justice, as much as people want to freak out about the short term, so keep that in mind. Never attempt to invent or discover anything, for every time it has been, humanity has darkened in its intent. Never strive to be progressive, nor powerful, nor famous, nor wealthy. Instead, only enjoy the God-given gifts you inherently possess and be satisfied in your simplicity. 4th century Chinese philosophers be like... Elon Musk will never, ever, ever secure consent to lead any country. He couldn't, even if he was not proud to a fault, even if he was born in the United States instead of being an immigrant that's taking advantage of our country, which him and his brother both are immigrants. So the blitzkrieg to shove as much data into his AI programs as possible is an attempt to steal future power. Here's the thing. You could have 1 million millionaires or 1 single trillionaire. Let me pose that to you again. You could have 1 million millionaires, or you could have 1 single trillionaire. You could have 0.5 of the entire population of the United States become millionaires, or you could have 1 Elon Musk. Guess which direction our on-rails economy is going? Money has no mind. It will magnetize to whomever so holds these self-holding levers. And that's exactly why, if you are a student of history, as I am, you will notice that in the last 300 years especially, since the proto-industrial revolution in the 1700s, power has been concentrated into less and less capable hands, specifically because they happen to inherit some factory, some set of machines somewhere that is difficult to reconstruct in another place. And that's what they call a kekocracy. Or a kakocracy. I'm not exactly sure the exact term, but if you look this up, you'll probably find out what I'm talking about, which is rule by the least capable. Which, in my opinion, seems to be some sort of a long, drawn-out humiliation ritual meted out in the collapse of Christendom, but that's neither here nor there. Well, we can notice that Elon Musk is not aberrant in any way, shape, or form. He is exactly as is planned by the system. And naturally, we also know, if we are students of just basic recent history, that Elon Musk would only be a simple billionaire, not very involved in anything, $2 billion to $5 billion in that zone, if it wasn't for Barack Obama giving him a tremendous amount of NASA contracts, or contracts that were supposed to go to NASA that comes out of the Treasury and goes directly into his pocket. Serious issue. Been seeing a lot of barstool types going, we're free, we can say swears again online, thank you, Elon. Free from what? You've always been able to do that. You're a bird in the cage with 2 bars. The issue is people didn't like it when you did your little song and dance about welfare queens. And they still don't, even though I could probably do it better and rationalize with those same exact people. You've just found camaraderie in the newfound state of Indian, Jewish, and Malaysian thought prevalent on X, modern Twitter. That's not a good thing. You know, psilocybin is often found alongside death cap mushrooms. Where there is peril, there the prize lies also. You know, when Dramamine, the vertigo medication that makes up, is made up of DPO, diphenyl, was being named, there was definitely a subtle nod to the dreamlike state its intoxication brings, as Draum is cognate with dream, Dramamine, Draum, Dreamamine, from Old Norse, which is the basis of the English language, actually. Look up the Danelaw, etc., to find out their influence in England. And for those unaware, diphenyl, DPO, metabolizes 50% by weight on average into diphenhydramine, DPH, also known as Benadryl. While we're on that topic, I don't think there's a state philosophically more terrifying than the fear of sleep. To actively want to sleep for 4 hours or less a day, as in experience as little rapid eye movement REM sleep and dreaming as possible. This is always indicative of some subconscious terror or guilt, some trauma point that is extremely deep. And the scariest part, that hell might last forever for their consciousness when they die. It might be some form of purgatory, or it might be the last thing they experience before finitude. We're not sure about that, but what we are sure about is if you are afraid to dream, you're afraid to die. And that is the main issue I levy against meth heads, is that we're all going to die, even if you cope with transhuman nonsense. Every single one of us is going to die. So you better not be afraid of falling asleep. You better be willing to face the subconscious and the unconscious. And if you're not, study Carl Gustav Jung, study Marie-Louise en France, and maybe even study Robert Moore. And maybe you'll be more prepared after the end of that scholastic adventure you take, if you so choose. You know, this is why meth has so much horror associated with it. Not exclusively because it keeps you up artificially, more so because of the people who want to stay up indefinitely. Speaking of artificial, AI is incapable of effort, because as many calculations as it can make, it's incapable of love, and therefore has no value. Every accurate reference it can make is exclusively because someone on the internet valued that information enough to write it down in a clear and concise enough way that it can be rendered down into lambda calculus. It's the only reason why AI is able to even try to replicate actual human thought, is because somebody went into so much autistic detail about something online that it captured the necessary quadrants to create a calculation, to create a calculus, to be slotted into the specific lambda calculus that AI runs off of. You know, sometimes I feel inadequate, and I've meditated on this. I think the root is thus: I've done many good things, and like seeds planted, they grew for a time, but short life cycles they enjoyed. Delicate flowers, beautiful and pure, inspiring more beauty even in the future, but an accomplishment to number under your own direction for but a fleeting moment. Having a kid, raising a child, that is the propagation of an entire native tree, metaphorically speaking. That's something you count as yours. That's adequacy. That's breath, even after you've left. Want to know why they move factories to the third world? Because people like consumerism more. when there's not a loud pollution belching factory in their backyards. Ergo, they like the show more when they're not keenly and deeply aware of how fake it is, and how much pain and sacrifice and illusion goes into the creation of said show. That's a very tepid and neutral comparison to something that is quite dire in the lives of people around the third world. Rich lands, beautiful people, turned into thralls, below vassals, below tributaries, disregarded in the minds of our glorious hegemonic empire. That's why America loves it most these days out of all the countries. And you know what? Communism isn't godless either. It's actually fully aware of God and his methods and seeks to operate executively in the space religion previously held. Giving up your property, martyring yourself, putting your neighbor before yourself. This is not simply the godless atheism of the Frankfurt School of Art. These are deep, archetypal issues that human beings are inextricable from. And there was never, ever, if you're somebody on the far left or subtly on the left as in not on the center left who believes that communism is viable, can you please just run a thought experiment stating that what if Christianity was not immoral Calvinism? What if it was actually moral? What if it's actually just? What if it actually adhered to the scientific method? Which it can, and it did. And if that was the case, would communism even be necessary, even be considered? It wouldn't. It wouldn't be necessary. It wouldn't be considered, because why would you layer redundancy that's like a degraded and lessened version of something that you already have? Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like building a beautiful building and then covering it up with like IKEA splinter wood facade, you know, and all of its dimensions in a perfect cube. Yeah, sure, you might protect it a little bit, but that's not the point. What people on the far right and the far left need to remember is this. Most people would choose the most logical and beneficial behavior for everybody involved if it wasn't for the propaganda they're being force-fed. You know, if I was a state governor, what I would do is I would probably spend 100% of my spare time looking for corruption, looking into every story in the state, trying to find that 5 to 11% of incarcerated people who are innocent, trying to bust any organized crime the state is involved with, and unloading on them double-barreled with the full brunt of RICO. You know, one of many seemingly Olympic-style acts of jumping the shark Zionists exercised recently was condemning a woman named Mrs. Rachel for praying for an end to the violence against children in Gaza. Not exaggerated, that's all she did. As propagating Hamas terrorism, that's what they said. If you are a weirdo in your mid-30s or your early 30s with no children like me, you may not know who Miss Rachel is, but she's essentially the Mr. Rogers of millennials. And that is... there is very little ecological examples, like kicking a hornet's nest or something like that, or architectural examples like collapsing a central beam, that could explain what one would invoke the tidal wave one might witness and experience if one messes with somebody who is beloved by the most active and capable parents, people in the entire country, and like one of the top 3 people that they are aware of, like messing with Mr. Rogers back in the day, like killing somebody in a Barney costume, would probably give you similar, back in the day, similar attitude, reputational harm. I really don't know how low that they can sink, but like it really does work out the best. God has wrath. God's logic is perfectly sound. The world is not broken. It does not need no Tikkun Olam. It does not need no Zionist healing. The world is perfectly balanced. All we have to do is remember that we are the flawed ones. And when you forget that, you fall in the same behavior patterns that Zionists do when they end up undermining their own goals more than anybody on the planet ever possibly could. Talk about a falling state. I can't wait for Zionist thought leaders to have their 47 Ronis moment. John Fetterman, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, Alan Dershowitz, Chuck Schumer, Tony Blinken, all charging headlong into Maxim guns on horseback. That's going to be sweet. I think we should take Samoans and repatriate them to their ancestral homeland on the island of Formosa, otherwise known as Taiwan. Now that Israel is over with, that sounds like a fun new remix of a familiar premise. Also, prepare for Trump to be screamed at by people with 90 to 100 IQ for the foreseeable future. A sort of people who waste away their days watching the most dog shit political cartoons. For instance, like Trump being depicted as a schoolyard bully in J.D. Vance, pointing at a kid in a blue and yellow shirt who's bleeding on the ground saying, "Did you even say thank you once?" And Trump wearing an I Love Russia shirt. This is a real cartoon that I'm describing, by the way. This isn't like something I made up as an example. This is something I saw on the side of the transport and then my little stream here. What's even the point of that? I'm supposed to hate Russia? Buddy, I don't even hate Israel. And that's the most immoral country in the world right now. Everybody has free will. Everywhere. Point blank, period. End of story. Alright, y'all. Hope y'all enjoy this episode. That was pretty good. Cheers.